Hello, everyone. I'm Steve.
And I'm Rebecca. And today we are joined by two super amazing people that I know that I've low-key sold a bunch of their cool stuff on our OOCs, which we'll talk about later. But we are joined by Haley and Vee from the Storybrewers. They're amazing.
Howdy, I'm Haley.
Hello, I'm Vee.
Thank you, ladies, so much for being here with us today. It means the absolute world. 90% of our podcast is just talking about Good Society at some point in time.
Yeah.
We constantly go over those details. It's ridiculous.
Almost, I think every single OOC that we've done, I have been like, hey, have you ever heard of Good Society? You should play it. Do it. Because I really just, you guys are amazing and did such a wonderful job on it, and I absolutely love it. It's probably one of my top 3 tabletop RPGs.
We're so lucky to have you repping our games. But we're really glad that you enjoyed playing it too.
Yes,
really makes our day to hear that.
It's a wonderful game. I really enjoy the mechanics and how it's very roleplay heavy and very rules light. And it's just very nice to build that level of game with someone else. I've enjoyed every one that we've run. I'm currently playing in a hack that we're doing, and it's tons of fun. It's absolutely wonderful.
Anyway,
actually ask questions. We're just smiling.
Hey, thanks.
Oh my goodness, yeah. We can't gush. I've got to remember that we can't gush.
We're really bad
it's always,
about gushing.
We love gushing. How did you guys become inspired to create the setting?
Well, no.
I'm sorry. Okay.
There's a flow here that I created.
Oh, okay. I apologize. I'm having a normal conversation.
No.
I didn't realize that you were doing this the way that you always do.
I pre-built this conversation.
There's an intention and a design to this conversation.
I can't wait to get to the epistolary where we do the letter writing. That is my favorite section of the conversation. I'm really stoked for that. When did you get in? Oh my goodness. When did you start playing TTRPGs?
The exact date escapes my mind, but it is after we got into board games in a big way. And then we branched out into role playing and very quickly got embroiled in that world. And I think I'm going to say, if I had to put a date, somewhere around 2013, 14.
Sounds
Perhaps
plausible.
I say a different date each time I'm asked this question. But yeah, roughly it's that trajectory. We started from board gaming and then found the RPG side of the hobby and found it very different to board gaming. And we still are into sort of both, and they check different boxes on our list of things to do. They're very different activities. But yeah, there's some crossover there in terms of just being in the same shop.
So which RPG was it that started you off? Which one set you on that trajectory?
Yeah, so I was the one who sort of purchased a lot of the games early on. And the story was that I was in a games shop, a hobby game shop, just a local one here in Sydney. And then they had a boxed version of Mouse Guard, which was not a thing I'd ever heard of, but I think I was used to buying boxes at that point. And so I purchased this box set to sort of explore what it was in the role playing that I've heard about. And the theme was somewhat appealing to me, having read a lot of the Redwall books. So Mouse Guard has got that small critters adventuring kind of thing. And then I roped all of my friends who I knew might even give it a go, which included Haley at that time. And and that's how we started playing it, totally randomly.
Yeah, Mouse Guard was good, but we didn't quite understand the activity of role-playing at that stage.
Yeah.
So we certainly gave it a go. But I think the game that really got me hooked was Fiasco.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that it just throws you into a scene and it's like, do a scene. You don't have anything, you got nothing to go off, just make a scene. I'm like, okay.
In a weird way, I feel like you actually do have more touchstones to something like Fiasco, just because I guess everyone at school maybe has had that experience of having to improv something in whatever English drama class, if you took drama class, and it's easier to jump into that activity rather than like the role playing with rules that is a bit more opaque, I think.
I think that's true.
As a totally brand new newbie, having had no podcasts that we were listening to, or no examples of this activity being done at that time for us. So yeah.
Fiasco is a lot of fun.
It is.
And I agree. It is very like improv game at the local theater kind of feel to it.
That is still on my list. After once things get back to normal and we can see human beings again, I would love to play Fiasco. I have not gotten the opportunity to yet. But Mouse Guard was really enjoyable as well. Mm-hmm. I like that whole setting. It's such a beautiful book.
Yeah, I've got it downstairs. I've got a lot of
Fiasco
RPGs.
now comes in a box.
Oh no!
Everything comes full circle in the end.
It's funny because I feel like if I were to play Fiasco now, it's been a couple of years since I played it. I would play it completely differently to how I played it when we first started role playing.
Yeah. I mean, I think that journey of getting into role playing is very unique for different people, and we kind of pick up different elements of playing a role-playing game. Some people are really into characterization or story or rules and balanced combat, and it's very interesting how you kind of have to build competency and knowledge and skills in all of those different areas over time.
Yeah, lots of space for character growth. So, what made you guys want to start making your own board games and tabletop RPGs?
Yeah, I love telling stories, and I don't mind telling the same story over and over again. There's just like some sort of fundamental need to explore different stories, and when we started getting into role-playing games, like I definitely felt that there were stories that I'd love to be able to tell that I couldn't find the right vehicle for them or the right way to express them. And so it felt quite natural for me to just be like, okay, well, maybe I'll just give it a shot and like see if there is a way to tell the story that is kind of cooking up inside me, or to create a way for other people to tell similar kinds of stories. And I definitely had no idea what I was doing or any particular plan. It was not something at that time that I intended would ever become something public facing. It was just me wanting to tell a story and trying to get that story out from just my heart into a play space, I guess.
I think for me, my motivation to start making TTRPGs is the same motivation I have for a lot of other things where I like just inherently making things. So no matter what it is, like I enjoy the process of creating something, like sort of the design process and the thinking behind that. And I think that motivation coupled with what was going on with Haley, it was very natural that we would end up with a project together to sort of like make a game together, because like I would always say yes if there was like a story that you wanted to tell and you were roping me into that. And I think that's what sort of happened. Like it was kind of obviously we were living together and dating at that point, so it was very easy for us to have a lot of time to make role-playing games, and it was like something we both enjoyed doing. So I think that's the story there.
We definitely know the whole interrelationship and living together, so you decide to go on a crazy adventure and create a podcast that accidentally gets way too big than you expect.
So for that in particular, it can either be very good and you can build off of each other, or it becomes very destructive. I've heard a lot of people have those where they work on a project and it just everything falls apart because they can't stand each other after that. You don't realize how much you hate each other until that moment. That's why we're almost done. You and me. This podcast is ending soon. I can't anymore.
I definitely think that there is a learning curve there when you're mixing like personal and work and all of the spheres of your life. You have to have really good communication and boundaries and all of that. And there is a learning curve to that. Doesn't all happen at once. I like to think we're still improving all the time.
Absolutely. It's wonderful.
Communication again. I absolutely agree with that. I think that is the reason that we are as good as we are, is because I have ridiculous ideas, and then if I communicate them properly, we get to do them. So. Other than just being like, what if radio? And she's, what does that even mean? I don't know what that means, Steve. So, of the TTRPGs that you guys have played and have experienced, is there any that are your absolute favorite that you didn't personally make?
I feel like I cannot crown one RPG to be my absolute favorite simply because the reason that different RPGs are different kinds of stories or different moods for me. So it really depends on what experience you're looking for and what you want to create at that time. So however, I will name a game that I have always enjoyed every time that I have played it, and that is very up my alley, and that game is called Alienor. It is by Marakanda, and it is a game about the ladies in waiting to Alienor of Aquitaine. Aquitaine? Is that how you say it? I have no idea. Either way, it is about the ladies in waiting to Queen Alienor and their relationship and their lives. And the Queen appears from time to time in kind of a mysterious way. And it is one of the first games I played that is deeply centered on relationships, intimate relationships, without trying to be something else or feeling like it needs to add something else to that story in order to be a successful game. Yeah, I really like it.
Sounds very interesting. I've just typed it into our search bar, so it's on the list now.
Yep, let's go. We're gonna be playing that soon.
I find it really hard to have like a top favorites list, so I will pick ones that are more recent. So the TTRPG that is like very interesting to me right now is called Logan. It's made by a fellow Australian. It's an autobiographical tabletop game, and it is a solo game. So Logan, who wrote Logan, lives down in Melbourne. But the game itself is so interesting. It's you are playing through Logan's life in sort of like small chunks, and it's going to be slightly different, obviously, from Logan, the real Logan's life, but it has a lot of the same beats, and it's very personal, obviously, being like an autobiographical game, and I find that so interesting. And in the most purest way, it's, role playing is about embodying a character. This is embodying part of like a version of Logan that is your exploration of Logan's life, and so interesting as a concept for a game. So yeah, that's available on itch. If you go to breathingstories.itch.io/Logan, you can find that game there. It's very interesting. There is a actual play by Party of One podcast as well, if you're interested in listening to a session of that game too. So yeah, that's my one. Very intriguing game.
I've noticed a lot of solo RPGs are getting a lot of traction. I've seen a bunch of them on Kickstarter recently, which is, it's just really nice to see.
Or the one GM, one player. I've seen a lot of that as well. It's really neat.
I think it's a very good space, especially I think perhaps with lockdown, that was the only game you could get done for a long time. Well, there's also a lot of online gaming, but for a little bit more of that casual, like you can't get a group of people together kind of case. Yeah, it's a very fun area of to design it for and to play in.
Yeah, it definitely is. So this next portion is where we just bombard you with a lot of questions about your newest creation that is on Kickstarter right now, called Fight with Spirit, a sports drama RPG. So, I'm going to start off and just say I'm really excited about it. I backed it day one. When you guys announced it on the Discord, I was like, saved. I'm ready for it. It's happening. I love sports drama anime so much. And I was like, this hits so many wonderful things for me, and I can't wait. And so I know I'm really excited about it, but Steve hasn't heard, and he doesn't anime.
So yeah, that is my I'm so sorry, society. I wish I could anime. I don't. I've tried so hard. This one it seems so different from the other one. I would not have expected, the Jane Austen RPG is the same people who are doing the high school sports anime, or I'm sorry, not specifically, but the sports anime RPG. How were you inspired? Like, it doesn't seem... I'm questioning.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's. I'm sure a lot of people wonder that, but I think it's because we're probably more three-dimensional ourselves, and we have lots of interests. And
as much as I love the Regency,
I think that we kind of, a lot of the times when Haley and I are choosing which projects we're going to do next, we're really guided by what we're interested in ourselves. A lot of the times we joke that we have to play test these games 100 times, so we need to have our own stamina and will to play.
Yeah, we better make a game that we enjoy playing, because we're going to have to play it a lot.
And so we always, part of the matrix of what we're going to work on next is really like our personal interests. Like, what are we excited, and what kind of stories do we want to facilitate coming into the world, right? And so, the real answer is because I like both. And that's sort of how we kind of got into doing this. I also love sports anime, but I also love sports media and sports in general. I played a lot of team sports growing up. So for me, it was a story that I wanted to tell.
Yeah.
And that there was an interesting design challenge in terms of the mechanics of how we might bring a story like that into role-playing as well.
I think the thing that draws me to sports stories is that idea of people who are always assessing whether they can push themselves to the limit. Should they be pushing themselves further? Can they be pushing themselves further? They're striving throughout a particular period of training and performance to reach a particular goal. And not only that, they have to do that with other people, if it's a team sport. Or even if it's an individual sport, they're not the only one competing. So they have to negotiate their relationships with other people, both on their side and as people that they are playing against. And there's a complexity of wanting to be the best, but also wanting to be a certain thing to someone else. And what to do if you lose. There's just so many interesting, emotional journeys and dramatic stories that come out of sport for me that really drew me towards wanting to create this game. So in some senses, the core, I think the theme, if I was going to draw a theme between all of the games we've created so far, even including the 2 Little Box games that we've released so far, would be that sort of sense of creating games that are emotional and collaborative. Because at the end of the day, our games tend to be stories about the human heart and what it is to be and feel and negotiate the world that's around you. But this is a very different way of exploring that kind of story to other games we've made in the past.
Yeah, well said. There's a lot of focus that we put on relationships and sort of like a community of people, a group of people in a lot of our games, whether it's only 2 people in our duet 2-player only game, A Mundane Supernatural Life, or if it's, in Fight with Spirit, a community of sports teams, and Good Society, where it might be a wider community, but it's still got that tight relationship bonds between all of those. That is something that we do tend to focus on.
Yeah, I think so. And if you have had a look at the quick start for Fight with Spirit, you probably would have noticed that the 2 things that we really wanted to capture with this game were firstly the high octane sports action, because that's just so fun.
Yeah,
it's just so fun.
That's the unique part. It's really all a world unto its own.
Yeah, and secondly, it's the intersection between that high octane sports action and the personal and interpersonal drama of the characters. So when we went into building the matches for this game, we were thinking, how can we create cool sports moments that's simultaneously cool character moments? And that's actually what drove a lot of the design of the match section of this game.
And I would argue the whole game.
True.
So what drove you guys to use decks of unique cards as opposed to, say, rolling dice for a lot of the mechanics?
Yeah, I think that we were drawn to a card resolution for that because it allows us to put more information into each draw, I suppose, as opposed to a roll. Because I guess when you're rolling a die, you have the odds, which is also a thing that the card replicates, but that's it. You would have to cross it with some sort of table or I guess the pips is the only information on that side that you roll. With cards, I feel like we were able to control both the odds, but more importantly, we were able to embed more kinds of information into each of that resolution. So with the cards, the deck of cards that we have to resolve these match moments, they are in 4 suits, numbered 1 to 6 in each suit. And so for one, the suits itself allow us like a layer to put information, quote unquote, in. So the 4 suits are prowess, focus, connection, and energy. And so these are things that we are saying are important in the game that will impact your matches, that interact with other systems, blah, 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 all of that. So that's that layer that's really interesting. But also they have questions that you answer when you draw that particular card. And those questions kind of reflect the suit that the card comes from. And that level of being able to tailor each resolution into a particular kind of tone or focus or theme was really something that drew us to using it to make like a more compelling match system than just outright rolling.
Yeah. Well said. I can't really add to that. You go.
Steve's gesturing to me.
I thought because you were leaned in, I didn't want to cut in. I didn't
I'm
want.
listening.
I thought you were going to say something. I was like, oh no.
No, you're right.
There's a lot of gesturing on our end too.
I'm glad it's not just us.
It's a universal human behavior.
The character sheets also looked really nice. I'm excited to try this one. I was very apprehensive at trying the Jane Austen one, and I'm very apprehensive because I feel like I don't know enough about sports anime. I'm gonna just embarrass myself.
You don't know enough about sports. You've never done sports.
That's not true. I played sports when I was a boy. When I was a young lad, I would play the baseball and basketball. I actually was there when they invented baseball. I don't know if you know that or not.
Yeah, I do know that. Old man, very old man.
But I think that that's something I really enjoyed about the Good Society is just how, even if you aren't super familiar with the Regency, that you can adjust the play style and make it so that way, because Rebecca is super into Regency fashion and had to do a PowerPoint with everyone beforehand about the types of fashion that would be acceptable. And I was like, I'm going to hate this game. I'm going to hate this game so much. She's ruining Jane Austen. I can't do this.
Yep.
And then it just played so wonderfully and was absolutely fantastic. And I'm really excited about Fight with Spirits, even though I'm not super into the sports anime. I'm excited to try a different mechanic and a different style. And it just, all of the artwork is just so nice and it all pops. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I feel like with Fight with Spirit, we came in knowing that, and much like Good Society, we don't want this to just be for specifically the people who know a lot about this genre or a lot about sports. We want this game to be something that a lot of different people can pick up and enjoy telling the story of, and we're very mindful of that in the way we build and design the game as well. Well, similar to Good Society, there is a collaboration phase at the beginning of Fight with Spirit. It's a lot shorter because there's just less questions to ask, but one of the things it does ask is how much depth or detail do you want to go into in regards to sports and how sports are played. So once again, similar to how you can control how much historical accuracy you want to play your game with in Good Society, you can adjust that slider. And I've had very fun games of Fight with Spirit where people have, including me, mind you, clearly not known a lot about the sport that we were playing. And sort of, the soccer equivalent of like, I'm going to run really fast and then I'll kick the ball from the left. And you're like, great, that's dramatic in this context. So, and it's similar. that's similarly true with the tropes of the genre as well. We have tried, where necessary, to build the kind of typical stories, and some not so typical stories, of that genre into the game, so that you can come in without having to know what those are and just pick up on them by sort of taking out your traits at the beginning of the game, or by the different match games you explore during the matches themselves.
Yeah, I would say that's very true. Like we love to make games that are approachable, in that I guess it's a very similar, like you pointed out, Good Society. We also wanted to make a game that was approachable for people who were really into Regency stuff, and also who would just give it a go, even though they didn't know a heap ton. And that is like part of what we test in our playtesting stage, is like part of what makes that stage for us very protracted is we're trying to figure out how to allow the game itself, to onboard a lot of people into the sort of fictional world that it's trying to build around you.
It's very nice. I like the being able to really like mold the game to however you will. Now I know with Good Society, you do have, like, on your Discord, the Hacking Society channel. Do you see much hacking happening of the system with Fight with Spirit?
I feel like I should start by saying that when we made Good Society originally, we did not anticipate the degree of hacking that hitherto took place. So with that in mind, my answer to this question is yes, I'm sure that people will hack it, because just given what happened with Good Society, I can only imagine that people will want to do that. And we've started by sort of like, I guess, hacking it a little bit ourselves, in that with the Kickstarter, one of the things we've decided to include is these two free little mini expansions that transform the game. One is you can play with a couple of different historical scenarios, obviously up our alley, and then the other one is to play sort of the fantastical sport of Skyball. And those are us signaling, I suppose, but also having fun with showing that you can change this game to suit the story that you're interested in telling. I feel like the fundamental part of this game is that you are playing some sort of competition or contest, and that you are on different sides, and there is a, you want to explore the story of people who are doing that. That is so widely applicable that I feel like there's a lot of ways people could go with it, and all the time people like have been signaling to us the crazy thing that they want to try when the game is out. So I can't wait, personally.
I think another thing that makes it easier is that there is a lot of sort of modular components to the game. Like, so the game comes with like trait cards, which are like how you build your characters. They have like individual little, I guess, like a proto-narrative, a direction for your character. And then there's like the match games themselves, which are like little mini games that you play through. And so the fact that the game itself gives you all these modular components, I think will make it a bit easier to make your own versions of these things, to kind of expand the game by tackling each of those modules.
Yes.
Which is kind of like interesting to me. But yeah, you can't stop people's creativity.
Absolutely.
Nor do you want to.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's nice when somebody takes something that you've created and then messes around with it.
Yeah.
It's something that I love seeing.
I think the role-playing games hobby is kind of like very rich in that as well. Because it's a hobby inherently about sort of being creative and telling stories. And so I think a lot of people in this hobby also have like that drive to create and to make stuff.
Yeah, because in the end, like, this hobby is all about telling stories, and each of those stories is going to be unique. And
absolutely.
being able to make even more unique stories is definitely something that a lot of people strive for.
Now, as this episode will be airing just after the end of your Kickstarter, and you did just mention that, will Fight with Spirit be available for pre-order?
Yes, it will. So you'll be able to pre-order the game from our website, which is storybrewersroleplaying.com.
We'll have links down in the description.
And the doobly-doo.
Fabulous. so you can grab it there, and you can also follow along with the Kickstarter updates, even if you didn't back the original Kickstarter, to see the progress we're at with making the game. And you can get the quick start from our website as well.
Yes, which you should totally do. I've already scoured it.
I was gonna say, if you're fans of us and you haven't already gotten it because of Rebecca's constant prodding, I don't know what's gonna give you. Shame on you. Shame on you all.
So to continue on to the next, I'm gonna say next phase of this interview.
Fun stuff.
We are primarily, I don't know if you guys listened at all. We are primarily like a fantasy, radio kind of podcast. And so these are two questions that don't directly apply to your normal, stuff, but I think you guys would enjoy answering these.
We are people with wide interests. We have a stack.
You have a chip on your shoulder, Vee. No, I love
it. Exactly. So we created radio in a pre-existing D&D setting that didn't have radio. What would you guys bring into a fantasy setting, be it something that already exists or doesn't?
So to clarify, is this if I was a character in a fantasy setting, would I bring, or more like if I was world building, what would I want to bring into that world building?
Let's go from a world building perspective.
Interesting. Do you have an answer straight off the bat?
No, I do not have one off the bat, despite reading this question. And being
it's a tough question.
Oh, well, it's because there are so many options, I feel.
Some previous answers we've had are like cell phones. Because those are always great in fantasy settings. Who doesn't love a good isekai? Also, my favorite answer is dog-sized spiders.
I don't know whether...
absolutely terrifying.
Genuinely horrifying.
Mortifying.
But
could you imagine coming home one night and you go into your house and there's just a dog-sized spider just chilling in the corner of the house? What are you gonna do?
His name's Fido. And he pays the rent.
Nightmares. Absolute nightmares.
Eating all the rats in the house.
Why do you have rats in the house? What is going on?
I don't know.
I feel like my answer to this, and it obviously isn't, a real life thing, but from Up, how Doug has that collar that can make him talk. I feel like I want a version of that in the fantasy setting, because it'd be so interesting to chuck that on all the critters that you would find. So you'd be there in the middle of the woods with some sort of magical elk, and you'd be like trying to put this collar in. And the elk would be like, I can already talk, and you'd be like, never mind.
Sorry,
I'm surprised that's not a thing already. With all the spells that are available, why has no one done that? That's genius.
Magic.
Oh my goodness. That would be the worst city to come across, a city where all the animals have that. Just a miserable day.
Yeah.
Every that's animal. When you whip up your cell phone and you're like, I need you to translate this into a language I understand.
There you go, that's my answer.
Great.
My head is just going down a rabbit hole. I'm always very interested in the connection between people, so I feel like some sort of like gem or crystal that like shows you when you meet someone like how much the threads of fate connect you. Like, this person will be vitally important to me. This person will never appear in my life again. I can be rude to them.
Imagine what that would do to you if you worked retail.
Oh my god.
A person of great significance to my future has just walked into the store. I'm going on break.
Gosh, I love that. That's a good one. I super duper love that one. Those are good answers.
But then I'm super worried, like, okay, what if you're really rude to that person? And the crystal's like, oh no, it's changed, motherfucker. They're coming for you now.
Oh, they're still as significant. Connected. It's just not in a good way.
Vengeance alert. Vengeance alert.
So, if the two of you were able to cast any kind of spell, what spell would that be?
I have another clarifying question for this one.
Yes.
Is this a spell that we could cast continuously, or is this like a one-off spell?
Continuously, and you're the only person who can do it.
Amazing.
I've had an answer for this for a long time, and I would want my own pocket dimension that I could cast and retreat into for a time.
Yes.
And it would be extra great if time could pass slightly differently, so I can have extra hours in the day in my pocket dimension, but that's okay.
I probably would have given a different answer to this in 2019, but now I would like a spell that would style my hair, because it's not something accomplishable by mere mortals and ordinary beings anymore, I feel. Definitely something fantastical is required to achieve that end.
Shout out to Haley's hairdresser.
Yeah, hopefully I can make amends for that soon, but I just can't get over how unbelievably useful that would be in my life.
Yeah, just being able to snap your fingers and then your hair is made and you just look, business ready at a moment's notice.
Because, in the modern era, people only see me from the shoulders up. So the rest doesn't really matter. It's just, you gotta get that the one piece of the puzzle correct.
The one angle.
The one angle, exactly. So I guess I only need a spell that styles like 40 to 50% of my hair. The rest is just wasting energy, really.
If you cast it at level 1, you can really do the
exactly.
Just don't turn your head. You can't turn your head at all. You gotta keep it straight.
The back is just knotted and messy. It's just the front that looks perfect.
Fine,
I love it.
Oh, my apologies. I'm just imagining more of that, just like laying down on a pillow and the back of the head's all messy, but you stand up and the front's just perfect.
Like in movies.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. When they wake up and they're like, "Oh yeah, I just woke up 3 minutes ago."
Perfect. Yep.
So something that we do or have introduced now is what we call the quick baker's dozen questions. So they are 13 questions that we need hot, ready answers to. So you have to answer as quickly as you can in regards to them. And we have different sections of them. And the ones that we've chosen today are based on the 13 mark. So each of them is tangentially related to the mark. It doesn't really have any.
Yeah.
But each of these, we will ask you to choose your absolute favorite of the thing listed, and the other one goes away forever. This could be
That's
make or break.
That's not even what's written there. It just says each of these will ask you to choose your absolute favorite of the things listed. Not that it doesn't exist anymore.
It doesn't. It doesn't exist anymore. It does
wow.
I'm changing it.
That changes everything.
You gotta add a twist.
I thought I had it written that way. I guess I didn't finish writing that.
That's absolutely how it's written.
Oh, you stole it off my document? That makes sense.
I did.
Yeah. Like I said, I thought I was working on... But that's because you finished out the questions. I wasn't done yet. That's what it was. Okay.
Well, it's just your favorite. We're not getting rid of
just
anything.
Your favorite then. Yeah. My apologies.
Okay. I will answer what my closest affinity is.
Perfect.
All right.
So to start us off, dungeons or dragons?
Dragons.
Oh my goodness. So sight, smell, sound, touch, or taste.
Smell. I can't smell, so I'm curious about what it would be like.
Yeah, Haley has no sense of smell.
Oh my goodness.
Sight, because I am so sight dominant. I love looking at things.
Okay. Stickers, pins, buttons, or patches?
Pins.
Patches.
Pins and patches.
Pins and patches. I think those are the best two answers. I don't know how I'd choose between pins and patches. Those are so good.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Wands, staves, or scrolls?
Staves.
I'm a one person myself. I like portability.
Double as a useful tool.
Yeah.
Cake or pie?
Pie.
Cake. I love cake.
Plastic, metal, wood, or resin dice?
Resin. Get creative.
Plastic to honor my only plastic.
Plane, train, boat, or car?
I like trains because I have bad motion sickness and all the other things. I guess planes are not, but planes are scary in their own right. So train it is.
I also like trains. You can stand up and walk around and you're not on the ocean.
There's a really famous train in Australia called the Gun, and my bucket list is to ride that train one day.
I really like trains.
Just like a really long train, or is it?
Yeah,
it's the engine. It's the engine that's like what makes it.
Oh, I don't know.
You don't know anything about trains.
Yeah, you know about trains. See, this is the problem: is that you become obsessed with a topic, and then you become an expert on it. And I'm like, I tangentially know the word train. I know that trains exist. I'm fairly certain of that. They go around Christmas trees, right? I've seen them.
In the broader sense of the word, train. Yeah.
But no, what makes that engine famous? Just so that
I think it's the route. Actually, it is actually the length of the track that the track that it goes on is extremely long. And
see, I'm not crazy then.
But it is. I believe there's probably a thing about the engines as well. But I'm just not. Again, I'm not well. I don't know that much about that. I just know it's like really pretty scenery the whole way.
There's one that is in, I think, in Canada that goes across all of Canada, and it's like a 3-day trip.
Yeah.
And I've really wanted to do that too. I can't. It would be so fun to travel via train. I don't think we get to do that enough.
No, we don't, because we live in America, and trains in America suck. Anyway, to continue, crayons, colored pencils, or markers?
Markers.
I like a good colored pencil.
Chaos only. No undoing. No light touch. Just.
Pirate, cowboy, or samurai?
Pirate.
Best answer. Only answer.
Stars or moon?
Stars.
Yeah, I like the stars. If I can see them.
Oh.
Sorry.
No,
it's true.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, that's we don't see them enough here.
No.
Oh no, I miss them. Sunny day or stormy day?
Sunny day.
Yeah.
Although that is dangerous in Australia.
Yeah.
You never know what that will entail.
What's the UV index?
Yeah,
How sunny is sunny?
Traps or puzzles?
Puzzles.
Puzzles is the best answer there.
Puzzles are intended to be solved. That is why they are superior.
Oh, that is a good way of I wouldn't have even thought of that. Yeah, that's because I always think traps just because, puzzles take too long sometimes, in my opinion. But
no, puzzles are the best.
Designing puzzles is very fun. Designing traps is a bit depressing, comparatively.
Yeah. How am I going to
leaves?
A little box with a stick. Well, thank you, guys, just so much. This has been wonderful. Talking about words just left my brain. Talking about Fight with Spirit and just getting to hang with you guys and chill out. This has been absolutely wonderful. If you wouldn't mind, would you please tell our listeners where they can find your products, where they can find out more about Fight with Spirit, if they wanted to reach out to you guys or talk to you or anything like that, go ahead and just shill your stuff for him.
Yeah, absolutely. For all of our combined games and everything Storybrewers, you should head on to our website. Should be linked somewhere, but storybrewersroleplaying.com. That will be. There's a lot of stuff there. There's free games. There's videos that help you get to know our games or learn to play our games. So that's a good place to start. Apart from that, on social media, Vee, I'm on Twitter at Rocketeer_V. And that's where you can hit me up for any social media things. I'm not particularly good at using social media, but I am there. So you can tag me and I will see it.
And I am on Twitter at Storybrewers, and I will see it and I will respond.
Yeah. I also have a portfolio of graphic design stuff, if that is your jam, at... I forget. Give me a moment.
Do you want to look it up?
If you Google me, if you Google me, it should come up. That is how I find my own web.
It's right at the top.
Let me say that again. I also have a graphic design portfolio, if that is your jam, and you can find that at rpgdesigns.com.
Wow, this has a little bio about you that appears in Google and everything.
Yeah.
I love that. I have to use Google to find our website all the time.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
We have too many different names for things. I'm like, is that one? Which one is that one? I don't know that one.
Yeah. Well, thank you both so much for joining us for this silly time. And
thank you for having us.
No, wait, you point at me? I just agreed with you.
Oh, I
was involved in the conversation. Like, Steven, tell these beautiful people how amazing they are. Absolutely. The game is super wonderful. I look forward. We're actually doing a not a cracked version. What is it called? A hacked version of it. See, I'm old. I forget. We're doing a hacked version of it on Friday, and I look forward to that so much. We've done every week so far, and I can't wait to just keep going with a wonderful group of people that we have in this wonderful setting. Thank you both so much for creating it.
Thank you for having us. We had a lovely time, and this was super cozy chat. So thank you for having us on.
Yes, and to all of our listeners, check out the description. Click on every single link that's there. I promise, no viruses. Now there's gonna be one.
Yeah, start clicking. Start clicking. You've got to get them all quickly before it goes to the next YouTube video. Come on.
And remember, everybody, to listen out for those echoes of hope.
Bye.